Hello everyone, it's Elston here. Here is part 6, and here is the opposite end of the other swordsman. Not opposite, just a different colour really. Here are the red swordsmen. Here is the captain, sergeant, whatever it is of the unit, so it's a little bit different. But again, same thing applies as I did with the yellows. With the reds, again, I did an airbrush, I did the highlights with the airbrush, and then went in and did all the other details. So, but in this one, I'm going to paint them on by brush, and we're going to use Vallejo Game Air Bloody Red to start with, and this is going to be our base colour. Likewise with the yellow as well, with the red, is pick where you want the sort of red elements to be. I've gone with the shields and some of the clothings. However, this guy is covered in a lot of armour, so not as much red, but feathers, shields, those are the two main things, and then a little bit of red somewhere else on the clothing will usually do you right. Okay, now we're coming in with Jacarro Orange, and this is going to be our highlight. It's tricky to do, explain blending and so forth, but basically I usually mix Jacarro Orange in with the red and paint it on, or I just thin it down and glaze it over the top. Up to you on your preference, but this is basically the highlight for the red. The reason why I went with orange is if you go with white, red just turns into pink. And I didn't really want a pink, I wanted a kind of warm, fiery look, so orange is the way to go with this. So all we're going to do is highlight the areas we're aiming for the higher points of it, and we're going to leave the bloody red at the lower sections. And yeah, there's not much more to it than that, to be fair. Okay, now we're going to use snakebite leather. And if you've been following along with the series, you'll kind of guess where we're going to next. Is we're going to pick these muted tones, the browns and greys and so forth, and we're going to start picking out details. So this one is going on his trousers. If you're American, that's pants. And yeah, anywhere else you might want to put leather straps, I would go with this. Snakebite leather is pretty darn good for doing leather effects. Hence the name, I guess. Now we're going to use black Templar. And for this, we're going to highlight the little bits in between the armor plates. Because he's covered in so much armor, this doesn't really show too much, but we're just filling in little bits of detail here. Also going to paint his boots up black as well, because I thought black boots, it's a little bit different to all the other brown boots that everyone else has been having, so we're going to give this guy black boots. Now we're going to use Ork Flesh, and if you've seen the other videos you know what's happening now. Here is the skin. This is an amazing paint for doing skin. It gets your base layer, your wash, and a highlight done in one step. You could leave it at this if you really wanted to, but a lot of the time I do tend to come in and give it a bit of a highlight afterwards as well. Now we're going to use Vallejo Premium Gunmetal. This is going to cover a big majority of the model because, yeah, there's a lot of metal on this guy. He's pretty much in full armor. So yeah, just have at it. Cover the guy in metal. we're going to use Watercolors Pewter, and this is going to be a highlight. With this, you can be neat, but I tend to use an overbrush technique here to catch most of the raised edges. As I said, it's an overbrush, it's not a dry brush, it's a little bit heavier than a dry brush, so it will catch a fair amount and the colour will be relatively solid. So yeah, give it a shot, see what you think. Then we're going to use Watercolors Silver, and this is closer to a dry brush this time, and we're going to pick out some of the sort of higher up layers. You might want to be a little bit more careful with this. You could go with the dry brush, but if you're not careful with the dry brush, you'll hit everything else, and you'll have to paint other things back in. So a controlled dry brush is usually the way to go with this. Okay, now we're coming in with non-oil gloss, and this is going to shade all of the metal areas. Yeah, there's not really much else to say apart from be a little bit careful here. You don't want to get this on the other colours, so tactical washing is what I'm going to advise here. Okay, now we're going to use Basic Flesh from Scale Color, and this is going to highlight our skin. As I said, I probably wouldn't do this on the rest of the unit, and yeah, I'm 50-50 whether or not I should advise doing it if you're doing like 300 of these, but yeah, for characters, go for it. Now we're going to use Contrast Gore-Grunter Fur, and this is going to paint all of the hat, effectively. Also, I usually use this for the hilts or handles of swords and weapons, so if you want to use that colour, I tend to be honest with you, you can use any of the sort of muted tones of the contrast range to do that, because it's kind of like a browny leather, but if you go for a reddy browny leather, that's absolutely fine, or just a darker brown red colour, that's also fine as well. So take your pick of the contrast range, they're all pretty good for doing hilts and leather straps and so forth. Now we're going to use Agaros Dunes, and this is going to do his tash. Now we're going to use Skeleton Horde, and this is going to do the weird little skull that he's got on his chest. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Now we're coming back in with Gore-Grunter Fur, and as I said, hilts. I think they're hilts. Handles. Handles is easier. I'm sure there's a technical word. Now we're going to use Model Color German Camo Medium Brown, which is a mouthful. And this is going to paint his little necklace straps things. I'm sure there's another word for that. Also painting his trousers, like the straps on his trousers. Now we're going to use Arzeros Purple, and I've kind of skipped the Nagaroth Night stage that you saw on the other ones, but here's the little sort of accent colour that sort of ties in across the army. So with the sergeants, I try to get a little bit of purple in there somewhere, so I've just done it down there, and I've added a little bit of white into it. So skip the Gene Stealer Purple from other ones that I've just added some white into it, because I found this works just as well. We're all about speed because we got loads of these to do. Now we're going to use Seraphim Sepia, and we're going to wash over any area we want gold, because if you wash silver with Seraphim Sepia, it turns gold. Also trying for once to actually paint eyes, I'm just dotting a little bit of black. Because putting white and then black in doesn't really make sense, because he's already got that much. And we're going to do some Seraphim Sepia around his earring to make it look like gold. Now we're going to use Ork Flesh, and this is for the strange fish that's on his shield. I don't know why there's a fish on his shield. Honestly, don't know. Literally, I didn't put this army together, but this guy has a fish. And it doesn't even look like it's like an emblem. It's actually looks like it's been nailed there. So, just played around with some colours to get a greeny, bluey fish. Yeah, there it is. There's the rest of the model. So, simplistic-ish. This guy's a bit more in-depth than the others. The others are red, blacks, browns. That's kind of it. To be fair, little bits of purple here and there. And that is that unit of 40. So we're hacking through this army. If you want to see some of the other videos, check the links or the cards at the end. There should be links to the previous series. There's more to come as well. We've still got a few more videos to go through. So I hope you liked it. If you did, please hit the like, share and subscribe button. And yes, hopefully we shall see what this army turns into. Also as well, if you want to purchase any products, there'll be affiliate links below to Firestorm Games. And hopefully I shall see you all in the next one. Till then, be safe, be good, and I shall see you whenever the next video shows up. Until then, bye bye.